very strange and still mysterious Chile UFO footage declassified by the Chilean Navy after 2 years of investigation on this. The report from an alleged UFO sighting by the Chilean military over 2 years ago has been declassified, and there's still mystery about this, speculating what if this thing could have been. It was in an area with no flights because of the fact that it was over bases. It was at the coast off Santiago, Chile. And even though it was windy, this UFO, this unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UFO, what we call, was very much in control of its movements without being in any way affected by the wind. And this image was taken by infrared by a Chile Navy helicopter. And it's one of the mysteries that experts are simply stumped about. They still consider this a mystery. Now, the Chilean government agency, which investigates UFOs, and the CAFAA reports that a naval helicopter was carrying out routine daylight coastal patrol. This was back in November 2014, when the camera operator noticed an unidentified flying object ahead. Now, please, when you refer to the map, you'll notice that it's on this coming up. It's on the west coast of South America, Chile, and it's not that far from, the 2004 USS Nimitz UFO encounters that we had again on the west coast off San Diego. That was in 2004, but we also had East Coast UFO encounters, not just on the west coast. The USS Nimitz was having their pilots going out for training missions, and we have witnesses lately coming out saying that they have images of that. That was even the pilots coming back from the training drills had shaken nerves because they claimed that they almost had an accident up there with these things. Now, this is what, unfortunately, this is the something that is still mysterious. It started emitting something behind it. And even though it was windy, as we said, there was no change in the shape of the thing that it emitted. It seems to have a very hot signature from the infrared images that the helicopter took. And also, it can't be, for example, contrails. Contrails, after a while, they sort of expand in waves because of the water content inside. Well, obviously, this had no water content. Otherwise, it would have been dropping towards the ground, from what the specialist said. Now, they said that this object was real, three-dimensional, with volume, and that, quote, it had control of its movements, end quote. It was not affected by the high winds. It reflected light and threw out some kind of energy, quote unquote. There was no evidence of hoaxing or altering of the video by any computer application. And they also ruled out birds or flying insects, drone, parachute, or hang glider. It can be concluded that the object has all the characteristics to be classified as an unidentified aerial phenomenon, or what we call UFOs, of course. It's unclear how much of the horizontal motion of the object may be the clouds moving or the relative motion of the camera on the helicopter, but the witnesses reported that the object kept pace with the chopper, and the French analysis confirms this. Also noteworthy, the fact that when the high-definition mode, the large plume, looked like a part of a cloud and would never be noticed as anything unusual by an observer. With the IR camera, infrared, it would have been difficult to see the white object against the sky and impossible to capture the footage. And it makes one wonder what kind of activities may be taking place within the clouds without us even knowing what's going on there. So it's still a mystery. The Chilean government agency, which investigates these, noticed that it had identified flying object ahead of this plume. It was flying horizontally at similar speeds to that of the helicopter. The crew contacted local airports and land-based military installations to confirm whether the object had appeared on their radar screens, but it did not. They then attempted to contact the craft using standard civilian radio frequencies, but to no avail. and twice during the 10-minute recording, the UFO ejected an unknown material into the air 2 times, not just once, which is only visible on the infrared spectrum. And to the naked eye, the object itself barely visible, and the substance it expelled disappeared straight into the clouds. Before the crew could obtain any more information, the UFO vanished into the clouds. Each and every theory proposed so far for explaining this bizarre object has been debunked, officially making this a genuine unidentified flying object. The footage was captured, as we said, on sophisticated surveillance and reconnaissance camera in broad daylight by the helicopter, the Navy helicopter of Chile. Nearby radar installations could detect the helicopter which captured this amazing footage, but nothing else in the vicinity. So thank goodness these images, these videos have been captured, though, by the helicopter. And now, that rules out low-flying planes and weather balloons up there. Part of the 2-year investigation, multiple agencies were contacted to verify whether any satellites or falling space debris could be explained away, and they could not, and the team assembled to study the footage and investigate the case include astrophysicists, video and image analysis, and aeronautics engineers, but they were unable to explain this object. Astrophysicist of Chile, Barrera, explored the possibility of perhaps space junk re-entry, especially Russian, which somehow may have broken, releasing compressed gases at this low altitude, and it was confirmed that no space debris entered the atmosphere on that date in that location, and in any case such an object would have fallen rapidly and not flown horizontally. 2 independent experts on explosives told CAFAA staff that in such a scenario the rounded vehicle would explode in the air due to the high internal pressure, and that the gas would catch fire in a flash. And any such re-entries would have been communicated to the Chilean government anyway, so that the aircraft could be warned as it is in the protocol. That's the protocol. Barrera also noted that when the first ejected event occurred, the material came out from 2 different parts of this object, and then joined in space, making one trail, one wake. The first was massive and dark in the infrared, meaning it was very, very hot, and the second lighter and semi-transparent. And as we said, the Air Force photo the analysis confirmed that the object was real, 3-dimensional, with volume, and it had complete control of its movements, even though it was very, very, very windy up there. It was not affected by the winds. It threw out some kind of an energy, and they established there was no evidence of hoaxing or of alteration of the video by any computer application in editing and processing of these images. And they also ruled out anything else, like birds or flying insects, drones, parachutes, or hang glider. So their conclusion was that the object has all the characteristics to be classified as an unidentified aerial phenomenon, or what we would say UFO. This is what Alberto Vergara, the lead analysis from the Air Force Photogrammatic Department of Chile, wrote. And it's not clear how much of the apparent horizontal motion of the object may be the clouds moving or the relative motion of the camera on the helicopter, but the witnesses reported that the object kept pace with the chopper, and we had to note that the fact that in high mode, the large plume looked very much part of a cloud and would never have been noticed as anything unusual by an observer. So it's still a mystery for the Chilean authorities, and I don't know what you think about this. I'll leave links below for you for this. You can watch the video on Huffington Post and Bended Reality. Please leave your comments. I'd like to know what you think about this. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in CAFAA, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.